today, or tonight I should say, I am going to watch the presidential debate. Now, those who are on my channel, they know where I stand. So this shouldn't be easy, obviously. And here goes nothing, Welcome to the... Alright, welcome to everybody who comes in, and I hope you enjoy this. My name is Ann Kramer, also known as Free Speech and Me. And for those who are new to my channel, welcome. I have some political commentary, although I don't know how good it is. I have, just different stuff that I talk about that I'm interested in. And if you're in for the ride, join me. I should have been way more oh, I found it. Found what I was looking for. By the way, have any of you guys tried the new they're called actually, while I'm waiting for the CNN thing to come up, I'm going to make myself a drink. So, because it's delicious. I know I had another thing of lemonade. Right here. So I will be... So I started a poll, Trump or Biden, but I'm gonna make this my pink drink right now, and then hopefully the debate. Wait, is it on? Is it on? Oh, okay, it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes till it's on. We should be ready to go by then. All right, I got my drink, I got my snacky snack, and I am ready to go. So, we're going to be watching the debate, and hi, nobody, you want to vote for nobody? I mean, that's okay. I mean, everybody's allowed to have their own opinions. I have my opinion, but that doesn't mean my opinion should overrule your opinion. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. Just because I vote for Trump, that doesn't mean you have to vote for Trump. You get what I'm saying? But I do think it is important. What about Bobby Kennedy? What if Bobby Kennedy was in the race? What do you guys think about Bobby Kennedy being in the race? I've heard that if you don't like Trump, but you don't like Biden also, that he's a good alternative. Oh, okay. That's okay. I mean, but anyway, serious question though. Who thinks that, like, who do you think's gonna win? Who do you want to win? Hi, hi DKK. How are you? Well, that's not very nice. For our whatever the heck your name is. You don't know anything about my parents or anything like that. I was actually adopted. Is it? Is it the truth? Or is it your truth? Anyway, enough with that. No, I said it was your truth. I didn't say it was the truth. I said it was your truth. I was adopted, by the way. Let's turn on the volume, shall we?
You know who the president was? It was Donald Trump. And I think there are a lot of voters who are just thinking, we had a momentary blip in this world. That's over, and we've got to get back to where we were when we didn't have daily anxiety.
Talking about that. You talking about the United States of amnesia. You talking about we didn't have daily anxiety.
Okay, I mean, you're allowed to think whatever you want to, sir, or ma'am, or whatever you are. You're entitled to think whatever you want to think. That's what makes this country so great, is that we all have opinions, and we're allowed to have different opinions. That's what makes this a beautiful place to live. So, I can't actually see. Anyway, so
One of the reasons why I think Donald Trump has always struggled with suburban women in particular is because of that anxiety, is because they do not believe that he is a uniter. They woke up every morning and wanted to turn the TV off in front of their children. What is he going to do about that tonight? I think is one of the huge questions that face him. And yes, broadly, maybe
anyway,
people are dissatisfied with where the economy is, but for Trump, that trouble grew.
You know, here's the thing about the news. The news also played a big role in why people are so distrustful of Trump. The news played a major role. Because when you get wall-to-wall coverage of the same person over and over and over again, you're going to have opinions about that person. Some people don't do their facts. Some people don't don't go beyond the watching of the news. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to go, beyond just your average news. Because here's the thing, they won't tell you the truth. Like, sometimes I think people just want drama in their lives and they're going to get it however they want to. As some people in the comment section are proving, they just want drama. And they'll get it however they want to get it. But like I'm saying, there's hopefully some interesting topics are being brought up, because at the end of the day, like whether or not you like me personally or not, whether or not you agree with me personally or not, I'm not running for president. At the end of the day, I'm an American citizen just like you and the next person in another state. This affects everybody in this country. Who wins will change possibly change the economy and stuff like that. So like, people need to take this seriously. And as somebody who, the reason why I started my YouTube channel, Free Speech and Me, is because I am very passionate about politics and I want a voice. And that's just why I have the channel that I have. Now, regardless of what you think of Trump, other than maybe Bobby Kennedy, I think Trump is our best bet, to be honest. That's just my opinion. I think Trump is our best bet. You're not going to find another candidate so late in the game. And regardless of what you think of Trump, honestly, Biden hasn't impressed anybody, including the Democrats. So, like, what's your opinion about him? Honestly, guys, give me your personal opinion about Trump. I would love to know, because truthfully, and I'm gonna always keep it real here. Truthfully, this is of course, I always watch the debates, but I've never thought to put it on a live stream. So I'm not really good at live streams, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm not good at live streams. They don't normally do well, but I hopefully maybe I am somewhat entertaining. I hope to be somewhat entertaining. And I hope to, have a, interesting take on things. But like, this is my opinion about this. I think that like our country is going to hell, and regardless of which side you're on, you should want this country to do better. But anyway, so if you're new to this channel, hi, like I said again, my name is Ann Kramer. It's Free Speech and Me, and I do political channels. And whether or not you like political channels, that's up to you. I also like to garden. I like to work outside. I like growing cucumbers, tomatoes. I'm growing pumpkins this year in our community garden behind my workspace. I like to crochet. I'm crocheting a giant donut pillow for my couch. Do any of you guys like to crochet? Do any of you guys like to, what kind of hobbies do you guys like to do? Alright, so I'm going to, there's one up. All right, we're getting started. Hi there, whoever you are. How are you doing?
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in Atlanta. This is the CNN presidential debate.
What does Riz mean? You play the drums? That's cool. My sister is really good at singing. I wish I had the voice to sing, but I'm not good at that. I'm crocheting a giant donut purse. Or not a purse, sorry, a pillow. Sorry, it's a pillow. And then this.
Anna and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determines their positions.
Do you have W Riz? I don't know what W Riz is. Can you explain to me what W Riz is?
An additional minute for follow-up clarification or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak.
Anyway, so I'm going to be watching the debate and occasionally commenting, pausing and commenting. So if you're interested in that, continue watching. If not, no harm, no foul. Everybody's got something they gotta do.
Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate, both candidates and their campaigns agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden. And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
I wish there was a way.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
Okay, I gotta turn the volume. Sorry, guys. Sorry if this is bad. This is just kind of.
Pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach and you're all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. That's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. There's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from Foxglove, where the kitchen tables and things weren't even met during the month of home. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems.
Okay, I'm gonna stop every now and again and just kind of do my comment and spiel or whatever you call it. As an American citizen, my parents, by the way, whatever, you can insult them all you want to, whoever the hell that person was. My parents are hardworking teachers. They were at one point during Biden's presidency paying $70 a gallon, paying $70 for a tank of gas. when they were paying 25 with Trump in office. So you can say whatever you want to. The math doesn't hold up to what people are saying. And like, neither does the poll. The poll doesn't hold up either. Because I know only 24 people voted, but it's majority for Trump. People may say that like they don't like Trump or whatever like that. When push comes to shove, Trump's going to win. And it's just insane that like, you know, you have all these people trying to justify what's going on with the economy, what's going on with gas prices, what's going on with all this other stuff. Look, the economy was a lot better when Trump was in the White House. The gas prices were a lot better when Trump was in the White House. I could buy a skein of yarn at Walmart when Trump was in the White House, $3. Now it's $5 to $7. So trust me on this one. The economy was a lot better. Now, whether or not you like his mean tweets, like, is, I mean, up for debate, you know. But like, I mean, I would rather have somebody have mean tweets and tell me the truth, and then have somebody who doesn't tell me the truth and tells me nice lies into my face. But we shall continue. But anyway, just from the rip, he starts out lying. And like, you don't need to be an economist to know the truth. You don't need to be somebody who's a news anchor to know that the groceries that you were paying 4 years ago are way more expensive. It's ridiculous. And that you don't need to be an expert. People keep acting like you gotta be an expert to know the difference in what's going on with the economy. You don't. You don't. Let's continue with this nonsense.
We're gonna make sure we reduce the price of housing. We're gonna make sure we build too many new units. We're gonna make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination that is left of the corporate greed is what's allowing this problem. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you had to look at all that was done with this administration, you didn't do much at all. By the time we left, things were in chaos. They were literally chaos. And so we put things back together. According to my savings job, we make sure we have a situation where we now are brought down the price of prescription drug, which is a major issue for many people. Up to $15 for an insulin shot.
Sorry, guys.
No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs that they're beginning next year. In a situation where we're going to make that available to everybody, all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you, President Brown.
We have the greatest economy in the history of the country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying this. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in the Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country, but other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created were for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, the bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world, he's the only one who thinks.
All right, so before I go back to the debate that's going on, I'm going to leave that poll up for actually I might add well, actually never mind. I'm not going to take it down. I would have added another can. I would have. Is there any candidate that you wish was running that is not running? By the way, just out of curiosity, if there are any candidates that you guys wish were running for the presidential spot, and by the what is a Riz? I have no idea what you're talking about, but oh, that's cool. And I'm gonna leave the poll up until the presidential debate is done. But I would love to know who do you want to run for president? What do you want to? Who do you want to be the VP? And why? I'm just curious about what you guys think. This isn't like, you know, the people who have subscribed to me so far, I'm very appreciative of it. If you're new, again, please consider subscribing, maybe liking the video if you do, and enjoying my content. I've been on this platform for like 2 years, as of like, I think since November. This channel has been open since November 9th, 2021. So this upcoming will be my 2nd year on the channel. So hopefully, you know, things go good. But we shall see. All right, back to the show.
I don't know anybody else who thinks that we're getting the basic economy. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president ever than Herbert Hoover who's lost more job than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant in the military. You know, when he was president, we were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we still find ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. Truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops going anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can. You
Am I
want
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. Now, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So former President...
Okay, so I want to just say something real quick. First of all, the fact that we had COVID during Trump's presidency really put a wrench in everything. COVID, like, because we had to, bunch of jobs were just out, just a whole bunch of stuff happened. People got stimulus checks because they weren't working. They needed money to pay bills. And, you know, The problem is that Biden kept that going on. That could have stopped once people were either continuing to wear their face masks, or they were, they got the vaccine, or what have you. But they continued the stimulus check. And also, I'm not a government person. I'm not an official. I don't run the government. I don't know these stuff. It's probably very complicated stuff. But from what I understand is that, like, the stimulus stuff, boom, like all the money that's being spent affects the economy. Could be wrong. If anybody who actually knows anything about the economy happenstances to be in my comment section, school me. I would love to learn something new. With sincerity, I would really love to learn something new about that. So. I'm gonna go get my cat real quick. Here, Archie. This is Archie, by the way. He's a soft orange cat. Alright. Back to our show.
Many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21%, 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But we had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. When the vaccine went out, he did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation. And it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? We're in a situation where
We have 1,000 billionaires? What the hell is going on?
if they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the
I'm sorry, guys. This isn't for kids, so I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. He is literally just Biden is literally just pulling shit out of his ass and hoping people don't smell it. This is crazy. He's just spouting a bunch of nonsense. Also, I'm going to make another poll. Okay, there's... Yeah. Why can't you do... That's lame. Anyway, maybe during the next commercial break, I will start another poll. But like, so when you are voting for a president, I want to know what type of things are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody who's going to help with the economy? Are you looking for somebody who's going to help like with the border? What type of candidate or president are you looking for? You know. Also, nobody's answered what a Riz is. I am confused about that. I'm literally confused about that. I am also in the process of crocheting a giant donut pillow. See? It's going to be a beautiful pink one. It's going to be right behind me. It's going to be awesome. Oh, yeah, and then this is Archie. Be very careful. Okay, buddy. This is Archie. Look at the camera, Archie. He's a good boy. All right, here you go, buddy. Sit right there. Good boy. All right, back to the show.
with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Oh my gosh.
He's right, he did beat Medicare, he beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare. Because all of these people are coming in, they're putting them on Medicare, they're putting them on Social Security, they're gonna destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security, he will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence, and it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. They no longer respect it, they don't like us, we give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid, they think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Anna?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing him.
Okay, hi guys. If you guys are new here, hi. Also, this is my cat Archie. Oh, they left. But this is my cat Archie, and he is orange, and he is a sweetheart. And we got him in like 2018 and 2019, and he is a doll. He is like the most chillest cat you will ever meet. We talk about politics here, but we also have good times. This is Archie. And he is probably the cutest thing ever. What's your guys' favorite pets what kind of pets do you guys own? My friend, some of my friends at work, one of my friends has a rabbit. and a bunch of dogs. We have 2 cats. You won't see the other one because she's kind of shy, but and I look, I'm not stupid. I know politics aren't very popular, and I'm not very good at, like, I'm a new channel essentially, so I gotta work my way up, so I understand that, and I'm gonna be trying my best to work my hardest. I've been here since 2001, so we'll see where this goes, because I'm not going anywhere, and I'm excited. So anyway, we had just watched that segment. Well, I did anyway. And I am very interested to listen to what people think about this segment. And I wish YouTube would make it where you could have multiple quizzes up at the same time. I think that would be more interesting, but such is life. And then, hi guys. This is my buddy. His name is Archie. See? What do you guys think? Making sure he's secure and stuff. What kind of animals do you guys have? We have 2 cats. And that's all we have. We got 2 cats. This guy's name is Archie. And the other one's name is Alice. There you go, buddy. But we have, yeah, so we're going to go back to the presidential debate now. Let's go.
Emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states. However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, we had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was, an end result. It was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would.
All right, fun fact here. So I have a story to relate to that. We got a campaign. I know people who were asking people to sign petitions to vote on the abortion issue in Missouri. And I believe that the issue should be voted on. I don't think that somebody should be lording power over anybody. I think that if your stance is so strong that you should be allowed, that you should vote on it, that the state should vote on it, and they should decide whether or not they, whether or not, people vote on that stuff. And I believe that, and I believe so strongly in that I signed the petition and they now in November, you can, in Missouri, you can vote whether you or not you want abortion to be, you know, in our state. Personally, I'm voting no, but I don't. Other people can vote yes. I think everybody should be allowed to have that vote. And anybody who tries to stop the vote is just being a tyrant. That's the only way I can see it. They're just being a tyrant. So, back to the program.
Say the same thing. Texas is different, Florida is different, but they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I'm a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in them. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars support the bill on this side. Support the bill. And that's this idea that they're all okay.
That is actually not true. And there are documents about this and stuff like that. This was not, both sides did not like Roe v. Wade. I don't know what he's talking about, but both sides did not like Roe v. Wade. Whether or not you agree with Roe v. Wade, like, the states should be the ones that vote whether or not they want abortion in their state. Like, you know, it's just the truth. The states should be the ones that decide. The people should vote on it. That's what makes our country the greatest country on earth. Is that we have people, we vote on a lot of the stuff. Like, if marijuana is legal in your state, chances are you voted on it. And you had a say. And isn't that a great thing? I think it's a great thing. I voted yes for marijuana to be legal in Missouri. I voted yes for that, and I won't take that back. I think it's silly that it's illegal in states. It's the least harmful, I believe it's the least harmful drug anyway. Maybe it's a controversial opinion with conservatives, but I think that, I mean, so long as you're not, driving while either drinking alcohol or smoking marijuana in your system, or marijuana in your system, you should be fine. I know that it helps with, like, the medical marijuana helps with, like, cancer and stuff like that. I don't know how it helps with cancer, but I know that I've heard, like, it helps with cancer. I'm not sure if it's, like it cures the, I'm not sure how it works. Does it just relax the person or something? I'm not really sure. But anyway, I know that, like, we just went on a rant about marijuana. We're talking about Roe v. Wade. That's what you get when you talk with me. Look at how far I've come on my No Net project. But yes, I think that, like, the states should vote on Roe v. Wade. The states and ultimately the people themselves that live in the states should have the last say in whether or not Roe v. Wade becomes a thing. The truth is that, like, the powers that may be, some powers that may be, don't want people to have that vote. At least I believe so. Call me a conspiracy theorist, don't care. This is my truth, my opinion about, this thing, and I'm gonna stick to it. I believe that, this country is not a perfect country, but it is our country, and we, you know, we're Americans. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, we're Americans. And we should try and come to a common ground and work together, not pull apart. There's a lot of divide in this country, and you know, that divide tears people apart. We got to work together, you know, to build this nation up. Anyway, just because you don't like Trump and therefore you probably don't like me, that doesn't mean that, like, yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm stupid or anything like that. Or what that guy said, that my mom and dad are incest. Anyway, back to it.
It's just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. But there's so many young women here, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, and talk about that. Here's the deal: there's a lot of young women being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters. It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
What the hell was that even about? All right.
Murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states have voted. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that, this is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade. It said 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders want the politicians to be the ones making decisions about a woman's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should make that decision.
That is not what he said. That is not what he said. Let's rewind it, shall we? Let's,
Between the doctor.
Oops. I didn't rewind it fast.
Young women being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses.
Across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states have voted. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't.
I love it when I can just rewind and prove a lie. All right, let's go back. Let's go forward.
come from the Middle East, everywhere,
Oh.
all over the
Hold on, sorry. You just totally skipped forward. Sorry about that.
The families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law. Sign that bill, I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Oh wait, I just skipped everything. Sorry guys.
Yeah, that's not the circumstance. Only woman's life is in danger, she's gonna die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
In Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy, who's very conservative members on the Supreme Court, takes credit.
Oh my god. Yeah, and for how many years were gay people not allowed to get married? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, the law changed. And actually, it didn't change, it brought it back to the states. The states can vote on it. The states can vote on this now. The people have the voice, they have the torch. I think that some politicians liked the fact that they had Roe v. Wade because then the people didn't get to vote on it. Think about that. Whenever somebody's fighting for something that a majority of people may not like, think about it. Anyway, gay marriage wasn't allowed for so many years. It was going to be voted on in like 2008 in California, and then a bunch of people, the Bush campaign said like that gay people were predators or something like that, and it's so dumb that they were saying that gay people were predators. They're not. I don't believe. I'm for gay marriage, and I'm a conservative, but like I'm also for human rights. I'm not for really the trans issue. If you watch my channel and you see what's on my channel, you'll understand that. But like, I'm down with the gays, and I believe they should have the right to get married. This is how far I've gotten on my donut. Let's go back to the show.
They're taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement, but not only change all of that, but made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers, significantly. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president,
Who'd you pay off to get that to happen?
and he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure that the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now we're in a situation where with 40% fewer people coming across the border legally, it's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban. The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol, more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of those sentences. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we have the safest border in the history of our country. But all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons. people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation, because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who was great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, he endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you, President Trump.
caravans.
President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything across the border is one who came along and killed three, and his administration, killed Al-Qaeda person coming in his administration, killed three American soldiers, That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorists ever got through. The idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second, he said we killed three people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the two greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world, and it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with a bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taking place. What's taking place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody but worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress. All of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half, because he's done all these great things that we did, and I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since they got past the pact. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. And their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed this. People opposed it. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next door to those burn pits. Came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke
What?
about those heroes that died.
For D-Day?
Cemetery, World War I cemetery.
Oh, like recently. Does he mean recently?
Did
he go to France recently? I don't know.
Suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine. It was failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taking better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would confront generals and others say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking, it's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russian disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son Hunter. It wasn't Russian disinformation. He made up the suckers.
Look how cute he is. He's snoring. But yeah. Hi there. How are you guys doing? Do you have a fruit tree? No, I don't have a fruit tree. Let me pause it for one moment. So, funny story, well, not really funny, but whenever I was a kid and I lived in Lee Summit, we had an apple tree and a pear tree in our backyard, but we didn't have them. We don't have fruit trees. Like, when we had our fruit tree, we never picked the fruit tree at the right time. It was like green apples or something. And, we just never picked it at the right time. What kind of fruit tree do you have? If you're still there. Anyway. Oh my gosh. It's getting good, guys. Getting good. Call more lies. All right. Let's go back.
War for veterans, the only president has in American history. And they now are their family. The only separate obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand it. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, and that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand it. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, a president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible, embarrassing, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
You know, I'm 30 years old. Afghanistan was the worst pullout ever. Like, it was just worse. I mean, I heard Vietnam was also worse also, but like, this war has been going on my entire childhood. It's ridiculous how this ended, and you know, all those people didn't need to die. It's just so sad. It's just sad. It's very sad for those people. I actually met one of the people whose child died at the gate of the airport. I forget the name of the airport's name, but because of the bomb that went off. It was insane. It's insane what happened. And like, nobody was held accountable. Nobody was held responsible for what happened. Nothing, like, it was just ridiculous. And it's just so tragic, It's just sad. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
When Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, and he You should have fired those generals like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
Never heard so much monarchy in my whole life. But the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that area. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. Listen to what he said when he went in. We're going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He didn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute. I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine.
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it.
And by the way, that could be, in my opinion, I don't know about your guys' opinion, but I'm not going to put a poll up, right? But for those who come into my section, if you watch it afterwards, please put it in the comments. Do you think that if you are giving billions and billions of dollars to a country that's at war, are you aiding and embedding, or whatever you call it? Are you aiding in war if you are giving billions of dollars to a certain country? Because personally, in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily have to be weapons that you give to that country. You can give them money, and that money can be used to buy weapons. Or, pay military people or do whatever it is that they need to do. So my question, do you think that a country that gives another country who's at war during wartime, like Russia and Ukraine, like we're giving Ukraine billions of dollars right now, do you think that that's aiding and abetting, or whatever you call it, that's aiding in war? Serious question. Just kind of want to pose that out there for you guys to kind of ponder about. By the way, I got this. It's called a original donut strawberry refresher, and I added a lemonade packet in there, and some of my Italian sweet creamer in there. It's 0 sugar. Not this thing, but it is delicious, by the way. I am not being sponsored by them, but would love to be. And I would give it my full approval. Back to it.
Every time Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him, I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire. Not just a piece, he wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? You think he'll stop when he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine from weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding from Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is treat the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas.
Text mom and dad.
They're the only ones standing up. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime,
Everything is good. Love you guys.
in Israel, we're finding the only thing I denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israel was accidentally killed, and it stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so they're 2 different things.
That right there is not true. It's not true. It is so not true, because he has been against Israel. He's been telling Israel to stop. Now, here's the thing. I'm not for violence on either side. It's so cute. Kitty. Anyway, I'm not for violence on either side. However, like really, I want those 5 Americans out, and I want this conflict with Iran, with the Middle East and Israel. It's been going on since like the Middle Ages. What do we think we're gonna actually walk in there on a white horse and solve this problem? No, we're not gonna solve it. So it's a moot point when you think about it. Like, it's just crazy. Anyway.
Hamas cannot allow it to continue. We continue to send our experts and we're telling people to how we can get Hamas like we did Bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Stay back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any, they were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting more. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them, as far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I mean, it looks so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? You're going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. There may be a big ocean. If we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe, what happens if, in fact, you have continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. We want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about. Go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine, and then move on to Poland and other places. It happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation as a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to contain just a year.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I make great trade deals with the European nations. Because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have. But we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia? At a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, the nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, what they say, but she's saying, oh no, it's my responsibility, I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor of
Called it. Called it. What did I tell those people? he said this stuff. I mean, he offered them National Guard people, and they didn't accept it. He's killing it right now. I'm sorry. If you're a Biden voter, sorry.
The mayor, in writing, turned it down. The mayor of DC. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see. I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up the Capitol, number one. I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, he talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says they're not forgiven for what they've done. Well, if they're convicted, he says he wants to commute their sentences and say that, no, he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He didn't do a damn thing. And these people should be in jail. And they should be the ones that are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he said that the leader again, such a Roman as he is, I think we have bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, and you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, and you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there, with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking
Woo!
at. The fact of the matter
And I'm voting for him!
what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned over statues. The idea that those people are patriots, come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had the first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boy? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, when you denounce these guys, you denounce the people we're talking about now, you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol. What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the select committee on January 6th going to jail. When your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight, can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution was going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted. Going to be convicted probably numerous other times. He should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death throes at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion if you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. But we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, coming right to you, sir, you want to respond? Go ahead. I don't think you respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, crimes you are still charged with. If you think about a civil penalty, how many billions of dollars do you know in civil penalty for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, for having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean,
Wait, how is that a crime? I mean, that makes him scummy, but how is that a crime?
you know the laws are now, Ken.
Give an answer.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official at DOJ into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up way up. You know that because you're reporting it, and we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases around all the time. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know that's a real problem. And so the fact that you think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution, you ever heard any president say that we thought he had some good ideas? What got me involved in the first place after my son and daughter decided in Iraq because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic choir they sang back in Germany. And a young woman I spoke to the mother, and they asked him, they said, what do you think of those people? People who wanted to try to stop it. And he said, I think they're buying people on both sides. What American president would ever say, Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic choir, carrying swastikas, to find people? This is a guy who says that he's done some good things. I don't know what they are. Good things that was done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense for anything.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story's been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency is, without question, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day, it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
Debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw it with our own eyes. We saw it happen on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
So far, I mean, I knew he would kill it, but so far I've gotten this much of my donut done, and I am looking forward to doing more of it as we go along. But like, what do you guys think? If you guys are still watching, are you watching the debate at home? I mean, if not on my channel, but like on are you watching it on TV? I don't even know how, like if you, I'm sorry to say this, but if you vote for Biden, because like now after watching this debate happen, I'm sorry to say this, but you know, that's just, I don't know what to tell you. But let's continue with this madness, shall we? Ink. Okay.
In your first terms, and you'd certainly face again in the second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
He acknowledged he made a lot of progress. Number one. The fact of the matter is, more small black businesses that have been started from any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. In addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first increase legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs by cutting them in half. We're going to make sure we provide for child care costs. We're going to make sure, because when we provide those child care protections, we increase economic growth, which is more typically in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up any more.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals provided that they could take out student loans that would eliminate paid their bills for 10 years and through student debt. all
I
those
am
children
completely
that
lost, man.
millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Okay,
Thank you, President Trump.
I am totally
And he
lost.
caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled, tripled, and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with this Green New Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now. And it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs. And you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you, President Biden.
There was no inflation when I began because you know why the economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. Provided thousands and millions of jobs for individuals.
That was because of COVID.
We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has included, I made sure that the $8,000 per person in the family get written off for health care. This guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. And they're going to try again. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people are not shot to make it. There's a lot going on. But inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Let me just go back to what he said about the police. How close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea. It was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning we're ever the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But when you see these millions of people pouring into our country and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet, it's a disaster.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. In history, we find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $50 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and all that. Any black student is capable of college and doing any white student can do. He doesn't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation.
By the way, don't you think that's racist? Like, I know somebody in real life that was like, that said, black people can't go and get a driver's license, therefore you don't need a ID to vote. And I'm like, don't you, that's kind of racist to say, don't you think? I kind of think it's racist to say that, like, black people are incapable of doing something like getting an ID. And I think it's insane that, like, you know, that he's saying that, like, I don't know, he's kind of out there. But anyway, so far in the voting polls, I'm actually not going to say, because I don't want to make people vote the other way, but it speaks for itself, just so you know. By the way, there is Archie. He's a good boy. Back to the program.
Or the idea that he is claiming to have done something to have cleanest water. Cleanest water? He didn't have a damn thing being done. He filed the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if he reached 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change. And he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage, I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence. We're not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able, the United States can't get under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We've made significant progress, and we'll continue to make progress. We set up a climate corps where thousands of young people will learn how to deal with it, just like Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and is really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
yes, make the very wealthy men to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one after, not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, it began to make the wealthy began to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. But the biggest thing we'll do is defeat this man because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the AC, as I said, we're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people do not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they in fact are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about education for Black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year can be able to get $15,000 towards the tuition. But he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen that he can look you in the face. I've got so many other things too. We mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. And everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and sucker story that he made up is a total lie in the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country and they're putting them onto Social Security, they're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid, they're putting them in our hospitals, they're taking the place of our citizens, what they're doing to the VA, to our vet.
By the way, guys, we only have 28 people voting so far. So, until this live stream is over, that poll is still up. So, if you're interested, vote away.
It's unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden.
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. By the way, when I said suffering the losers, he said he acknowledged after he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, and Craig talks about illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates you talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we'd like to have a recession and inflation is going to increase and go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted that him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just look back. The general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, Drain the Swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put him there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the
Hi
world?
guys, how are you doing?
Allowing 18 million
Alright,
people,
so
many
they
from
left.
prisons, many
Anyway,
from mental institutions. Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and
It's
I
so
sat
true,
up
our
here and
country
watched
is
so
being
hard about
destroyed.
This debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He's the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think, we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He's the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We're the finest military in the history of the world. The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one.
Everyone does.
Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up. Go online. 159 and 58, don't know an exact number. Presidential historians. They had meetings and they voted. Who was the worst president in American history? One to best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. You can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he was doing anything to deal with child care. He did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase
Guys, I could
the
literally just fall asleep. This is a bunch of lies, bunch of stories.
And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take a minute.
Just so you understand, we have Poland, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life I grow up and I see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about it. He's increased the tariff. He will increase the taxes on middle class people. I said I never raised the taxes on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. These tariffs, 10% tariffs, everything coming into the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that we're putting. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he is not raised, he somehow helped the middle class. The middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. We have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, we have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden. Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, We now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with it or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries and there was more to come. And he hasn't done that. And he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had.
Hi guys,
In every way.
how are you guys doing? Hi guys, welcome to my channel, by the way. Bye, I guess. That's Archie, by the way. Alright, let's go.
And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border where it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog. It's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot. And we were getting very low numbers. Very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low. It's the gotaways. They don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen. And numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden.
Fentanyl and high-priced fentanyl went down a lot. And I wanted to make sure we used the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over everything. And it cost a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together. It's a bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all over the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues and said, don't do it. It's going to hurt you. Now, he never argued it's not a good deal. It's a really good deal. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure we don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, but again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
Because this does protect. He ended remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made a catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done. Hard negotiations with Mexico. I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage, we always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time he says a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin was laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago. But Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We have 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Down.
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
First of all, I spent half my career criticizing being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger, but all of us company. I think that just look at the record, look what I've done. I turned around a horrible situation he left me. As I million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought off a lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips reached that 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and bring home a
What?
So I went to South Korea and convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And then, guess what? Those fabs, they call them, to deliver these chips, those fabs pay over $100,000. Don't need a college degree for it. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America. All our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world at getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world that keeps our word.
Hi,
And everyone
guys.
trusts us, all of our allies, and our those who we call us up to, from Kim Jong-un, we send love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to those who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests, I aced them. Both of them, as you know, you made it up. He took none, I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. I go through the first 5 questions, he couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests, I took physical exams every year, and you know, we knock on wood, wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it, he can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match, he can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test, and you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced it. Dr. Ronnie Jackson was a great guy when he was White House doctor, and then I took another one, a similar one, and one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace it.
Thank you. President Biden.
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds. Well, he said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's anyway.
What are you talking about a man's weight for? That's so weird.
I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf. You can carry my bag. You can do it.
It's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap. 8. But I had,
I've seen you swing, I know you swing.
Okay, let's
not act like Joe.
President Trump, we're going to
Let's not act like Joe.
a specific concern that voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a good president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, opponent. Because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a good president, I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here, and I might be here. The only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these people, they don't respect him, they don't fear him, they have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
Going to World War III, that you can follow and read and then say do what you want in NATO. Just do what you want. Because you think, oh, Article 5, attack on one is attack on all, required response. Yeah.
So, just a quick question for those who are watching the debate. What's your opinion about what's going on right now? I would love to hear. Anyway.
Idea. I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the Jab Act done what they've done. Because they're a powerful nation. They're wonderful. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything. They step up and they're needed. And right now, they're needed. They're needed to protect the world because their own safety is at stake. And again, we want to have a war. Just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. Not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going
So
to take
true.
Ukraine.
Say what you want to say about Trump. Say whatever you want to say about him.
He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine.
He is the man.
Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's
That's
so
so true,
sad.
though.
They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked our
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up by numbers and driven them up to a very high level, because the people understand it.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're whining. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There's no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accept
That's
it.
really presidential to call people names on stage.
We'll be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate, live from Georgia.
every weekday morning.
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
Get the news you need.
How about this for Metro News Small Headline?
We are almost at the end, guys. At the end of this, I will show you my progress on my donut pillow, and I will also show you the results of the poll that I had. Shouldn't be surprising who it is, but we'll see. Let's go towards the end. Finished.
Number one, you have to make sure that
Okay, hold on. This is the question. Sorry, guys.
Go to DealDash.com.
Now time for the candidates to deliver their closing statements as predetermined by a coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
we've made significant progress in the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. Find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this debate, you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said, nobody making $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not, and I'm not that will be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit, number one. He's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after he handled the pandemic. And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything within the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare to, us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 instead of $400, no more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior. All along, and it's happening now.
What he's gonna give fentanyl? I'm confused.
I'm going to make sure that we have childcare. We're going to significantly increase the credit people have for childcare. We're going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to call in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terrorists, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians.
It's so true.
Everybody else rioting.
It's so true.
You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you. Because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from the medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible choice for our soldiers. Where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living, and that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
The president and former presidents making their way off the scene of the debate stage. Looks like Joe Biden, the first lady, has come out. Former President Trump walking off the stage. The first debate of the 2024 campaign and the earliest presidential debate ever.
All right. So, starting, we had 28 people that voted in this poll for this entire night. And we, at the end of it all, Trump won 79% and Biden won, well, he lost. Biden lost. In the poll, it was 79 Trump, 21 Biden. And so I'm going to end the poll. And that's the winner of that. Now, as for my donut, I'm still working on it. It's going to be a pretty good sized pillow. But, you know, this whole debate that happened, I mean, I think that, like, it was full of lies and deceit from Biden. Because, like, he has failed America. And I think that, like, you know, this country needs a leader. A strong leader that's going to do something to fix the problems. And we don't have that right now. You can hate Trump all you want to, but the truth is that he's a hell of a lot better leader than Biden ever will be. And that's just the truth. I don't know exactly what you want to say, what you want me to tell you, but that's the truth of that's the tea. You want the tea? That's the tea. That's also the tea right there. I mean, like, we have a lot of issues going on in this country, and Biden's not looking to fix them. He's looking for his next nap. I mean, so we need a real leader. Now, that poll was just taken throughout this entire night. Now, whether or not you agree with that doesn't matter. It's not really. The truth is that, like, 78%. Okay, so I guess one person took their vote away. Who cares? But at the end of the day, Trump, I believe, will win. Now, I believe he also killed it during the debate. He remained calm, and I believe that, you know, he did a good job. It was Biden that ended up flopping, so there's that. And I'm gonna add, just for fun, I'm gonna start another one. This is a fun one. I like fun ones. I vote cats, by the way. I love cats. What kind of animals do you guys like? I like cats, giraffes, and I like turtles and penguins. Anyway, this is Free Speech and Me, and thank you for watching, or not watching, or whoever watched the debate, saw it, liked, commented, you know, engaged. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I will see you whenever I see you. Thank you. Bye.